everybody, it is Papa Dank right here on Beyond the Barricade podcast on live edition. We just had an episode come out with Delta House where you met my current guest coming up. But first, couple of things real quick. We are sponsored by Pro Brothers Custom Aesthetics, and their number is 631-953-1452, and they're located right here on Long Island, New York, for all your Long Island home improvement needs. All right, I'm going to bring up my next guest, BackMan Lex, straight out of his USA World Tour, right here in the USA. Give it up for BackMan Lex. What's up, brother?
G'day, guy. G'day, mate. How you going?
I'm so excited to have you on. Now, we just met the other night at Victory Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, shit. Was that the other night?
I believe it was the other night. I don't know. It's been a long week. No, it was like two Saturdays ago.
Oh, okay. But, yeah. I was about to say, like, my it's been a long month for me, so, like, all the dates are sort of meshing together.
So I'm going to explain how we met real quick. So he was at Victory Pro Wrestling, and I do some of my shows there, and I had the Delta House on, and here comes BackMan Lex, just being nice, introducing himself, and talking to Dante, because Dante's going to be out there where you're from. So that's how we met. And then I said, hey, you want to be on the podcast while you're still in the United States? He's like, yeah, sure, why not? I appreciate you coming on, so thank you very much.
It's all good, mate. It's all good, Just,
all right.
Try and be nice, try and introduce myself,
Absolutely. Got to get your name out there.
Yeah, try and make good impressions so people have me back, essentially.
Awesome. Now, was VPW your first show in the U.S.?
Wasn't my first show? Yeah, it was.
Okay, so I'm going to go through
No, sorry, it wasn't. No.
It wasn't. Okay, so we're going to start with, like, how you came to VPW first.
Yep.
And then we'll talk about your history for a little bit, all right?
Ready.
So how did you come to Victory Pro Wrestling itself?
Well, when I first landed here, I did a few training sessions with the Creator Pro guys.
Mm-hmm.
And Evil Kip was just there, and he said, hey, mate, we'll get you in contact with this guy from VPW. Maybe we'll get you in the show. I was like, all right, no dramas. Then they sent me the details. The guy followed me back. This guy said, yep, we got something for you. So I'm like, all right, sweet. I'll be able to make my way down. And that's how it happened. It's all thanks to the Creator Pro guys.
Awesome. Now, that's probably the greatest school out in the United States right now. It's the hottest school out there.
I mean, like, if you look at it, they currently have the AEW World Champion came from that school. So,
absolutely. All right, so let's delve into your history a little bit. Let's start from where you're from.
Yep, from Sydney, Australia.
You are from Sydney, Australia, the land down under.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me how you started falling in love with wrestling.
It's just, I guess, the same as anyone else. I just loved it as a kid, then I just never grew up. That's all I can really say, really. And then my dad loved it as a kid. He watched it. My first ever instance of watching something was at WrestleMania 17. That was my first taste of wrestling, and then I fell in love ever since.
Who was your favorite in that WrestleMania?
Who was my favorite? Well, I was roughly about 6 or 7 years old, so my favorite was Doink the Clown.
Doink the Clown?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, but rewatching that pay-per-view back, I remember the memory of me and my mate in the living room, like, oh my God, there's a clown in the ring. This is the greatest thing ever.
Right. That's awesome. All right, so now you're a little kid. You watch WrestleMania. You're like, oh, wow, I love this. How did you start to train? Like, how did you break that news to your parents saying, hey, I want to be a wrestler?
Honestly, my parents never gave a shit. They were just like, if you want, do whatever you want. That's absolutely fine. They would support me no matter what I did, which is fantastic.
That's
but
awesome.
As long as I, don't let it interfere with my studies, I don't let it interfere with my day-to-day life and shit like that, then they were happy with it.
Right.
But all I did was, I was just at home. I was living in a place called Canberra at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I just Googled pro wrestling in Canberra, and then a fella called Mikey Broderick popped up. he was in good shape. He had ring gear, so I was like, all right, this guy looks legit. So I just hit him up. He said, yeah, come on by next week, and I haven't looked back since.
How old were you at the time?
I was 18 at the time.
Oh, okay.
I was 18.
Is there an age limit for when you must train? Because there's one in New York.
Yeah, well, you have to be at least 16.
Okay.
Yeah, what's it in New York?
You got to be 18.
You gotta be 18. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's 16 in New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Well, it's 18 now in Sydney. Not for any laws or stuff like that. It's just, for liability purpose. They just said no one under 18 can train.
Right. All right, so let's talk about you started training. Who was your main mentor when you were training?
Well, the thing is, I didn't really meet my main mentor until I moved to Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
So I was roughly about 2 years into wrestling, and then I decided to move to Sydney. Decided to leave my girlfriend at the time to just, pursue wrestling. And
man.
Yeah,
How'd she take that news?
Well, not well, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah, she was madly in love with me, and I had to ditch her.
Yeah, you had to ditch her?
I just had to ditch her, yeah. But, yeah, I moved to Sydney, and probably my main mentor was down there. So, guys, because I started training at the PETA Pro Wrestling Academy, Pro Wrestling, which is Pro Wrestling Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And that produced guys like Robbie Eagles, Grayson Waller, Steph DeLander, The Inspiration, and someone else. I can't think of the top of my head. But when I first got down there, definitely guys like Grayson Waller and our champ down there, Ricky South. I feel like they've been pretty good mentors towards me. Oh, and Mick Moretti as well.
Okay. So now you've gone through your training. How long was your training about?
Oh, well,
you had your first match.
I had my first match in Canberra. I was roughly about a year into training before I had my first match. Mm-hmm. But when I moved down to Sydney for PWA, I had my first match for them in roughly under 6 months.
Wow, that's an accomplishment.
I like it how people say that it is. Like, honestly, I did a lot of sports growing up. And I did judo for 11 years, so it was a very easy transition for me. Mm. And I hate seeing people come in with no experience in team sports or anything like that. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, with no people coming in for tryouts and stuff that have no experience in team sports or any sports as a kid, and thinking they can just take to wrestling, because it's not easy.
It's not easy, no.
It's definitely not easy, and I hate people coming in that are not prepared, essentially.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's a big commitment. It's kind of like a marriage, because you're committed to the business and the training and all that stuff, and you're doing shows and all that stuff. So that takes you away from everything. So you're right. You probably couldn't have a girlfriend at the time when you were doing this.
No, it was probably not. No.
Hey, it's either all right, I become a wrestler, or I have a relationship with this girl, and it doesn't work out. Like my day job, I work in retail, so I'm a manager in retail, so I'm always working.
There you go.
Relationships don't work for me either. So
no, fortunately not.
So tell me about your first match.
Oh, shit.
How you felt? Who was your opponent?
So obviously, I felt nervous. Mm-hmm. My first match was against a bloke called Bishop Summers, who was a veteran in Australian wrestling. Mm-hmm. I remember we came on second. I remember my mum and dad were in front row of the crowd, and I remember there was about 30 people in the crowd as well.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I was nervous. My nose got busted up, so I started bleeding halfway during the match. So that was great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, it was so long ago, I can't really remember too much about it.
Gotcha. So how many years you been wrestling now?
Well, my first match was in 2013. But then I had sort of like a a 3-year hiatus just to focus on studies and focus on other things, and I just sort of fell out of wrestling. And then I made my return in roughly about 2017.
Okay. All right. So now you've had your first match and all that. What has been your most toughest match you've had, and why?
Oh, shit. Toughest match. I'd say probably the toughest match that I did. It's all because I put pressure on myself. So when I first got in the ring with guys like Robbie Eagles, Grayson Waller, and Ricky South, because I felt like, all right, if you don't have a good match with these guys, that's on me, and that's completely my fault, and then I don't belong.
Right.
And that's the sort of pressure I sort of put on myself against those guys.
Okay.
So I would say probably those three, probably just for that reason, were probably my toughest.
Okay. What kind of match do you want to be in that you haven't been in?
That's a really good question. I haven't really thought about that. Honestly, I'd love to be in a steel cage.
Steel cage, okay.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to be in a steel cage. But, you know, as long as there's a reason for it, as long as there's a purpose for it.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't want to be in there. I don't want to be in there for the sake of it. That's all.
So for like a certain type of feud that you
yeah, exactly.
Okay, what about opponent? What opponent would you like to face that you haven't faced?
I'll give you an Australian answer, then I'll give you a worldwide answer.
Okay.
Yeah. So there is 2 guys that I really want to face outside of Australia. I really want to face Jacob Fatu and Alex Hammerstone. I just love just big meaty men just slapping meat. That's just my type of match.
Nice. Good.
Yeah. And back home, like honestly, like you guys listening, look at there's a bloke called Mick Moretti who is the head trainer at PWA, and he is just insane of what he does.
Nice.
Honestly, I think he's probably the best wrestler in the world, in my opinion.
Is he like a death match type of wrestler? Or
No.
He
doesn't touch that shit. No, absolutely not. He's in insane shape. He has a great character, and just his ring psychology is just absolute top notch.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
So you haven't faced him yet, huh? Well, what's going
on?
I've
not faced him yet. I've not faced him yet.
Are you making plans to face him one day?
Oh, it's a bit different back in Australia because like this realistically, we don't get to wrestle every weekend.
Okay.
That's the sort of thing. Like we're sort of starting to now, but it was never really a possibility. We'll be lucky to get like a match like twice a month or something like that.
Right.
And Mick Moretti's they're on the top tier end of the Australian wrestlers, and essentially, you know, you're still in the middle or at the bottom trying to claw your way up.
Right. Okay.
It takes some time.
You're actually my second Australian interview.
Okay.
I interviewed Savannah Summers. Have you heard of her?
Absolutely, I've heard of her.
Very nice. She's very nice.
Lovely woman. Absolutely lovely woman.
She was talking about some of the paths she's crossed with some people who are here now. Such as Inspiration, Indy Hartwell, Buddy Murphy. Have you ever crossed paths with any of them?
I did a little spot with Buddy Murphy on the World Series Wrestling tour. But I've never met Indy Hartwell, and I've never met the Inspiration.
Okay. Did you actually get to wrestle Buddy?
It was like I wouldn't call it really wrestling Buddy. It was more like me and 2 other blokes were talking shit. We were like, oh yeah, you won't beat us up. And then Buddy Murphy came out and beat us up.
Oh. Now he's beating up everybody on AEW.
Yeah, pretty much. But mate, like he was a good bloke about it because he's pretty much sat us back there for like a good 10 minutes, just sort of explaining, even though we were out there for such a short amount of time, how to sort of make the most of it as well.
Okay, all right. Now you were going to say something else before I rudely cut you off.
Oh, Mate, I can't remember. I can't remember. I trained
So
for
it was somebody you crossed path with, and you were like, oh, and then we talked about Buddy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, like I sort of met the Inspiration well before they became the Inspiration, and I met them at a house party in Australia. And I look back in old photos of myself, then I just see the Inspiration there in the corner. So I'm like, oh shit, there we go.
There we go. I know them.
Yeah, I know them. Good mates now. We're good mates.
That's awesome. Good. So what brought you to the US?
Oh, well, it's something that I wanted to do for a long time. I was planning on doing it 2 years ago, but then, COVID happened. But it's just something I wanted to experience my own tour just before I turned 30. I don't know why kind of age was 30. I felt like I had to do it. So it wasn't like a long-winded plan. It was just like, you know what? I've got the money, I've got the time. Let's just fucking do it. Why not?
Let's just do it. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah. So there's no reason to do it. It's just I just wanted to do it, and I did it.
Awesome. And you're only here till what? The 10th of December?
Yeah.
And then you're going back.
Then going back, but I arrived here November 1, so I was here for well over a month, and
Okay. So let's talk about your experiences. I assume this was your first time coming to United States?
Well, first time coming to New York and stuff like that, yeah.
Okay. So you first came to New York?
Yes. That's where I first touched down.
Okay, so tell me, all right, you just arrived to New York.
Mm-hmm.
You've been wrestling in Australia.
Yep.
Did you reach out to promotions before you came here, or did you do it while you were here? I know BPW was here, but...
Yeah, I reached out to a few guys before I rocked up, but like it was hard to sort of get them to see my messages and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's the same with trying to get interviews. It's hard to get people to see your messages.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I wasn't really anticipating to get much matches while I was out here. I was just like, I'm just going to go over there. I want to do a few tryouts, go to a few wrestling schools, learn from some minds, and if that's all I do, then that's sweet. And everything else is just a bonus. So when those promoters didn't reach back out to me, it's like, oh, I'll just go to wrestling schools. I'll try to impress there. Then maybe they say, oh, just come to a show on the weekend, which is what Creator Pro did. Right. But I've also been training with the House of Glory as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I got to say that they're very two vast, different schools, but in the best way possible.
Awesome. Now, do they bring you as like a special guest to train?
I just sort of I had to. It was kind of a process to get into the House of Glory. I had to gain approval from Amazing Red first, and because my mate Robbie Eagles and Mick Moretti trained with them before, they were just like this. They put in a good word for me. I was able to get approval. And it wasn't like a special guest. I just sort of came in there, and they essentially treated me like one of the boys. It was great.
That's awesome. Who stands out for you as welcoming you into House of Glory?
Man.
Besides Amazing Red.
I actually haven't met Red yet. So.
Oh, you didn't meet him? Okay.
I've not met Red yet. There's a few guys. I don't remember the names now. This is gonna sound so bad, but the Ghetto Samurai.
Okay.
Very good bloke. The guys from Main Event.
Okay.
Yeah, they're absolute good brothers. They'd welcome me in with open arms. And there's another name I can't remember off the top of my head. It's gonna absolutely eat me up. It'll come to me later in the interview. I know.
All right. What about Creator Pro? Who welcomed you in there besides Kip?
Kip's been the major one, but also Bear Bronson as well.
Bear Bronson, another AEW guy.
Yeah, I actually, like, when I first rocked up there, I went in there for the open ring, and then I rolled around a little bit with Kip, and we sort of caught a match on the fly. And Bear Bronson was there watching, and he was like, I really enjoy your shit. It was good. I was like, all right, this is...
That's awesome. No, he lost your camera.
It's good validation knowing that, I'm not wasting my time.
He's such a nice guy, too.
Lovely boy.
I bumped into him twice, actually, at my job. He was shopping. He was so nice to me. and at a bar, and I just said, "Hey, nice to see you." Blah blah. So nice.
Yeah, no,
Such
he's a
nice
great
guy.
bloke. Absolute great bloke.
Such a nice guy. What about some of the other guys that work at BPW that night? Did you bump into any of those? I know you didn't bump into Dante because you met Dante that night.
Yeah, I met Dante. I know he's coming. I know he's playing him coming down to Sydney, so I hooked him up with a few details to get him into the better place to train while he's down there.
Gotcha.
So he was cool. Desmond Cole, who I faced, he was good as well.
Desmond's real nice.
Yeah,
yes.
and the little guy's name that I can't think off the top of my head.
The sweeper.
God, mate, probably yet again. Like I've met so many people that a lot of people's names just
Right.
they just escape me essentially.
I hear you. I hear that. All right, so let's talk about some of your hobbies. What are some of the hobbies you like to do?
Jesus Christ.
I'm really digging in deep. I'm going beyond the barricade here.
Well beyond. Well, very much into rugby and rugby league.
Mm-hmm. Oh, rugby. Okay.
Yeah, we're rugby blokes, of course. Sorry,
that's a tough sport.
It is. It is, and you know, I feel like
everything all right over there? I hear the fire sirens going over there.
Yeah, it's in the distance. I don't know what's going on. It's not my place. I haven't seen it on fire yet.
All right, so rugby is one.
Yeah, rugby, cricket is another one.
It's another tough sport.
I don't know how familiar Americans are with cricket, but that's nothing beats just playing cricket in the hot Australian heat with a cold brew.
I've only seen it on some shows that I watch, like The Crown. I watch The Crown. So
yeah, like you have to enjoy cricket to watch it from start to end. Put it that way.
Okay, I'm gonna have to catch a game now. I've always been intrigued by it. So
if you have 5 days to spare, then do it.
I don't know if I have 5 days. Maybe like half a day.
Yeah, they last 5 days. Those matches.
What else? You watch any television shows?
I sort of. Yeah, there's a few from there from time to time. Like I mostly spend a lot of time just watching YouTube. I feel like the content on YouTube is probably a lot better than what you get on TV, anyways.
What about movies? Any movies?
Like anything Marvel. I love Star Wars. Star Wars is my thing.
Did they kill it with Andor or what?
A little bit.
You really have to pay attention, though. It's not something you could just like kind of casually watch. You have to pay attention to Andor.
Yeah, exactly. But honestly, probably the best thing Disney's ever done with Star Wars is when they released Tales of the Jedi. I don't know if you watched that.
Oh, I did. That was great.
Oh, that was the best Star Wars I've seen in a long time.
Did you see the Dooku stuff? I was like surprised with some of that
I saw it all. And like I'm big into the lore as well, so like I know the backstory of Dooku and everything like that. And just seeing that there, seeing a young Qui-Gon, it was just that was great. That was great. I loved it.
And even Ashka when she was a baby.
Yes, yeah, for Ahsoka, mate.
Ahsoka, yeah, Ahsoka. I call her Ashka, but yeah, Ahsoka. Who's got her own show coming out next year?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm very much looking forward to it. She looked great in the Mando, so
she did.
Mate, looking forward to it. You want to go in?
She did.
There you go. You want to go in? No? Okay. So I got a cat here. Doesn't know what he wants.
Don't want to go in. I have a cat too. He's laying down over there somewhere.
I'm not a cat person. I'm not a cat person. Just cats are here.
Really? Oh, I have a cat. I love my cat. He sleeps with my son though, but
that's fair. That's fair.
What about Marvel? Let's talk Marvel because I'm a big Marvel guy. Did you catch the Guardian special recently?
No, I did not. I've not seen it yet.
Oh my god, it is like the best special I've seen.
Okay.
It gives away a secret from the actual last 2 movies.
Okay.
And it kind of makes sense when you see it. You're like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But so great, so well done.
Beautiful. I'll definitely have to check it out.
You have to check it out. It gets you ready, like pumped up for the next movie coming out in the summer.
Fantastic. Honestly, there's too much Marvel going on. Like, it's hard to sort of keep up, and it's hard to get motivated to watch all those shows.
It's so much going on. She-Hulk was just out not too long ago. I thought
Was
that
that
was well done as well. She-Hulk's done, yeah.
Mate, I cannot get like past 3 episodes of She-Hulk.
Really?
I couldn't get past that. I couldn't do Falcon Winter Soldier. Couldn't do Hawkeye. Couldn't do Miss Marvel. Couldn't do.
So
what else have they done?
The Disney actual shows aren't for you. You just like the movies.
Well, it's just I don't have time to commit like watching a season of everything. Essentially,
it is a commitment.
It is a commitment. Like I watched Loki and I watched WandaVision. And I like the What If.
What If was good. I watched.
What If series was good, and that's the only thing I've really watched to completion.
Loki actually set up the next phase coming up.
I know the whole Kang thing.
Yeah, his first appearance is actually in Ant-Man coming up in February.
Yeah, I saw it in the trailer. It was great.
It's crazy, so crazy. Marvel stuff. All right, so we got Marvel. We covered television, which you watch YouTube. What rugby, cricket? What else do you like to do to relax?
Oh, honestly, what I like to do to relax, I love to go like scuba diving, deep sea diving as well.
Oh, awesome!
And mate, is honestly like there's nothing. It's gonna sound crazy, but there's nothing more relaxing than swimming with a bunch of sharks.
Oh. So you actually swam with the sharks?
Yeah, you swim with the sharks.
There's a lot of sharks in Australia.
We have all the sharks in Australia.
Wow.
There's a few like obviously with the great white and tiger sharks and bull sharks. Like obviously you still gotta watch out for them.
Right.
And they can still sneak up on you from underneath.
Uh-huh.
And if that happens, they can easily just take a swipe at you.
Ooh.
But the trick is like if you see a shark coming head on, don't swim away from it. You look directly at it, and then you sort of reach out, and then you just get on its nose and you just redirect it.
Oh wow! So you've had to do that, huh?
Only for like a grey nurse shark or something like that. So something that's like not threatening or anything. If I had to do it to a tiger shark or a great white, I might shit myself a little bit.
Ugh. Please be careful out there, please.
Absolutely.
We want to see more of you wrestling. I mean, I saw you wrestling at VPW, so.
Oh, mate, obviously, I'd love to come back, and if they'll have me, of course. And there's a few more Aussie guys coming up from Mania weekend, so if they end up in New York way, I'll tell them to hit those guys up.
Yeah, definitely. Any plans to come back maybe next year?
That's a big maybe. It's a big maybe right now. Because back home, I'm in a tag team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm in the tag team. My tag partner is called Jack Payne. Mm-hmm. And together we're Back Pain, of course.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes the sense. It makes the sense. And I'm trying to prod the main event guys to say, hey, how about if me and Jack, we got our own way up here, how about we do main event versus Back Pain at House of Glory?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's something that we'll be like, yes, 100%, let's do it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, we've got to pry a little bit because, do you know the Aussie Open guys?
I do not know, but I will look them up.
Yeah, no, okay, fair enough. Because they recently.
I'm also bad with names.
That's all right. Well, they're currently like in the United Empire, like Will Ospreay and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So
I know who Will Ospreay is.
Everyone knows Will Ospreay.
I know. My friend, who's in another podcast, he'll like sprout out all these names. I'm like, dude, I don't know any of these names. Like.
Then again, like it's like Will Ospreay. Australian wrestling owes a lot of thanks to Will Ospreay because he got a lot of eyes on us.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. I mean, you got a lot of talent that came out of there too.
Mate, yeah, like I like to think we become over prepared for whenever we leave Australia.
Right.
That we're gonna give people no choice but to say, oh shit, these guys are good.
So hey, you never know. Maybe you'll be somewhere. AEW, NXT.
Oh, like I'm not holding my breath, but you never know. It's a crazy world.
You never know. Absolutely. There's scouts everywhere. They're having this big scouting thing coming up, Contest of Champions.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you going to that?
I am going to that. Yes.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Good for you. Good for you.
I'm
VPW will be there too.
Yeah, that's good. Then I'll say good day to them.
Yeah, say hello to John for us. Who got hacked? He got hacked today. All right. So what's left on the tour here?
So this Thursday I'm doing Wrestling Open.
Okay.
I think that may be my last match.
Is that in Massachusetts?
That's in Massachusetts. Every Thursday. It's just consistent.
I think Desmond wrestles there too.
Yeah. He's the one that said just rock up down there and they'll still give you a match. But
Awesome.
I didn't want to rely on that, so I hit up a few mates that have done it before. That put me with the road for me.
Awesome. One of the other wrestlers who were also wrestlers at VPW is there too, Brother Greatness. So if you meet him, he's really, really awesome.
Okay. Oh,
really awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm sure Desmond will introduce you.
Yeah, he wasn't there last week. No, someone else introduced me there. So, like, the main event guys helped me sort of introduce my way into it, essentially.
Right. All right. So you got WrestleCade coming up, and then you got the Contest of Champions, and then that's it. You're done for up here for now.
Then I'm done for up here for now. Then I go back to Australia, and then back in Australia, it's going to get busy coming to New Year in Australia. Like, if you get a chance, I would highly recommend checking out a few Australian shows. You're gonna be absolutely wowed.
Are they on YouTube?
A few of them on YouTube. A lot of times they're on Fight. So Pro Wrestling Australia is on Fight TV.
Okay.
And then Newcastle Pro Wrestling's on IWTV.
All right, I'll have to check it out. I'm gonna have to check it out with my friend because he likes to watch from all over the world. So check it out.
Yeah, like honestly, like expand it because I seriously think like the production and stuff that we have, it's getting really high up there.
Right. Awesome. So you got the tag match coming back in Australia. What else you got planned when you go back home?
Honestly, it's not really necessarily planned for stuff back home. It's like, all right, you're doing this, this, and this now. So you don't really plan for things. Things just sort of pop up and they just sort of happen. But,
gotcha. So the impression I got when I talked to Savannah was that they wrestle every weekend, but you're telling me different.
Well, we're starting to wrestle every weekend now. Like, realistically, if you wanted to wrestle every weekend, you can. You're not going to make You're not going to make money though. That's just the way it is. You can wrestle every weekend, but then if you wrestle every weekend, you're gonna run into, like, I'm sure it's gonna happen. It happens here as well. You're gonna run into a shitty promotion that's a shitty ring that's gonna do you dirty and stuff like that, and just leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Right.
And so
there's definitely that stuff here.
Yeah, and that stuff's gonna be everywhere as well. So, like, and I also feel like if I wanted to wrestle every weekend, I feel like I would resent it, especially being in Australia. Like, being here, it's great because you get to go to different places, you get to meet new people, everything like that.
Right.
Back home, it's like sort of rinse and repeat. You're going to be working with the same guys over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's true. Over here, they got shows in Jersey, Massachusetts, New York. You see people go to Maryland, everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everywhere. I've talked to people all the way from as far as Chicago, California. So it's like you can travel the whole United States.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And it's great as well because, like, my first trip here, it was all about getting the connections. So now I've got connections in Chicago, I've got connections in Texas, I've got connections all over the place, essentially. So next time I come here, I can, like, really plan out, like, a detailed thing of what I want to do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, I hope you come back next year.
Mate, I hope so too.
Be careful with the sharks, though, man. Get yourself in.
That'll be fine, mate. It's fine.
Yeah, You're the first person that told me, yeah, you just go swim with the sharks and stuff. Like, what?
It's honestly, it's not the
That's like
sharks.
someone saying, hey, I'm going to go swim with the alligators today.
That's dumb. That's just dumb because alligators, they're just, I'm in Florida at the moment, so I know people just like, oh, you want to come swim this alligator thing? Like, no, I don't want to do that.
Oh, you're in Florida right now.
Yeah, I'm in Florida right now.
How's your experience in Florida?
Oh, it's great. It's honestly great. The weather's just like Australia.
Yeah, it's warm down there. Yeah,
Very warm.
Did you get a chance to go visit like Disney or Universal?
I actually went to Universal today.
Universal's fun.
Yeah, I went there because who I'm staying with, I was just like, I don't care what we do, but I just want to go to Universal and I want to ride the Velocicoaster.
Oh,
that's all I want to do.
And how was it?
It was fucking
everything you wanted.
It was everything I thought and more.
That's awesome. When you come back to New York?
Come back.
Well, I guess you got to be back by Thursday.
Well, I'll come back to Massachusetts, fly out to Massachusetts on Thursday, and then I'm going to be in a car for, I think I'm going to Chaotic Wrestling on Friday as well, now that I think about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's in Massachusetts, and then I'm in the car leaving at 2 a.m. to go to New Jersey for this big thing that's happening.
Yeah, it's a big thing. Everybody's going to be there.
Yeah, exactly. It's great as well because I get to ride with the guy who's like running all the drills. So I get to pick his brain for like a good 4 hours before I even get to do it.
All right, yeah. Somebody asked me the other day, "Oh, you going to that?" I'm like, "No, I wasn't invited." What am I going to do there? Watch everybody?
That's all you can do.
That's all I can do. I'm not a wrestler. I'm 50 years old. I can't wrestle no more.
All right. Yeah, never too late to try.
I think at 50, it's too late. My son wants to be a wrestler. He wants to go to Cap.
Okay, that's good.
So that's all he talks about. He don't want to do anything else.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah, as long as, I feel like in America, there's going to be a lot more opportunity to, like, learn from someone really good. Learn from someone that's been there, done that, essentially.
Right. He did the amateur wrestling in middle school, so he has
that's cool.
And played a little bit of football.
A little bit of football. Okay, that's good.
He got injured and then he stopped playing.
It happens.
So he's like, I don't want to do this no more. All his friends quit on him.
Oh, that sucks.
All right. Anything else you want to say to the audience before we close out the show?
Just be good blokes, mate. I don't have a good closing line. Don't be simps.
All right, where can everybody follow you?
So BackMan Lex on Instagram and Twitter. BackMan Lex on Facebook as well, but I feel like Facebook's sort of like no one uses Facebook anymore for the wrestling stuff.
No,
so realistically, BackMan Lex, Twitter and Instagram. If you guys get a chance, check out PWA Australia as well if you want to see what I think is the best wrestling in the world.
I'm going to have to check that out. Is this your first podcast here?
The first podcast in America, yeah.
All right. I always like to be the first.
you got the honor of that.
I was Dante's first podcast. Not that time, but before that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Thank you, BackMan Lex. Thank you very much. I wish you nothing but success.
Thank you, mate.
And I really hope that someone sees you at this Contest of Champions and says, hey, we need this guy in our company.
Mate, I know what to expect now, so, hopefully I can be over-prepared for it.
You're such a nice guy. Appreciate you. I think you made the right decision. Relationships, they end very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm telling you, I was married for like 13 years, and it was like, I'm not doing this again. Screw that.
That's 13 years is a lot harder to walk away from than 3 years. So yeah, I'll give you that.
It was tough. Don't even get me started. But anyway, thank you very much. Make sure you follow BackMan Lex on Twitter, Instagram, and make sure you stay tuned for the next live episode of Beyond the Barricade coming up, hopefully soon. We got some stuff in the works, but you'll see. Thank you very much, Lex. Everybody else, have a good night, and we'll see you soon.